Hi, I'm Kathy, and welcome to my channel, What Kathy Thinks. If you like this video, I hope you'll hit the like button. If you don't like it, I hope you'll hit the dislike button. That feedback is just as important to me. If you're interested in watching more of my videos, please hit the subscribe button. This video may be disturbing to some viewers. It was very disturbing to me. Also disturbing was finding out that videos criticizing what I'm about to criticize have been described as being alt-right. As I'm about as far left of progressive as could be, this is really disturbing, and I don't even understand why this could be. I made this video because of a post on Facebook by a dear friend. She had posted an article from a publication called cauldronpool.com. The article was describing a television show on Netflix called Big Mouth. I had never heard of Big Mouth. The article was describing an episode on Big Mouth in which a little girl experiments with finding her vulva using a handheld mirror. I did think that description of an episode was a bit graphic for a streaming television show that could be viewed by small children. I did think that it was a little bit over the top for something that could be viewed without context or explanation. I was a little surprised. But I probably wouldn't have viewed Big Mouth based on just that one article. It just wasn't enough to spur me to further exploration. What did get me to view the show was the exchange that followed my comment, "Oh my God." Let me read that to you. So I commented, "Oh my God," on my friend's post, simply because, oh my God, that's what I thought about the whole article. And a new Facebook friend responded to my comment. She said, "They are singing about body positivity in this scene. It's actually my favorite part. The knee-jerking is getting old now." And I thought, well, I definitely knee-jerked in my reaction, but oh my God, it's a little much for an animated scene. Oh, by the way, Big Mouth is an animated show. And the person who responded, or who posted the article, responded to that reply with, "Children do not need to be encouraged by adult demons to drop their clothes and dance naked in order to be body positive. That's not body positivity, that's grooming. Body positivity is encouraging a child to see their body as beautiful and special enough to only be shared with someone who will give it the full appreciation and love they deserve." Now, I agree with that. I agree that's what body positivity is, and I had no problem with her response to the other person's reply to my comment. I thought, this is getting a little heated here. And then the person who had replied to my comment, "Oh my God," and who had said that this was their favorite scene, responded to my friend's comment with, "The beauty of art is that it can be interpreted. Also, I don't believe in demons and the boogeyman. Plus, this is an adult cartoon. Because adults like cartoons too. You have blood on your pearls for clutching so damn hard." Well, for goodness sakes. This certainly seemed to be like escalating to an extreme degree for a discourse about a cartoon. And I thought, I really need to watch this cartoon and find out what's going on. So I did. My roommate and I decided to watch 4 minutes of it on Netflix. Well, actually, we didn't decide to watch 4 minutes of it. 4 minutes was as far as we got in the first episode, and we were so disgusted that we shut it off. My roommate said, "That's child pornography." I hadn't quite articulated it to that point, but I was disgusted. Now I'm 57 and my roommate's 55, and perhaps we're just old fuddy-duddy. I don't know. Maybe we're just old. Except wait a minute. We're complete hippies. We're about as liberal as they come. We're pretty much anything goes type of people. I was born in 1963. There's not much I haven't done, and there's not much that causes me to raise an eyebrow when it comes to sexuality or what I consider to be suitable subject matter for discussion. I'm pretty open-minded. So I began to wonder at my own horror, and I began to think, maybe I need to watch a little bit more of this show. Maybe I am having a knee-jerk reaction. So I did watch a little bit more of it. And that's when I decided I needed to do a video about this. Because I believe that if this show weren't animated, there's no way it would be on TV. And what's the difference between animation and real people? Even more importantly, if this show were animated and on YouTube, I think we'd be having a fit about it. Look at Onision. Look at Shane Dawson. I began to think of an important video by Korviday, and I'll talk more about that. Well, I won't even be talking about it, but I'll mention it again in this video, and I'll link it in the description box below. So I watched 3 more episodes. I watched episode 1 and 2 of season 1 of Big Mouth, and I watched most of episode 6 of season 2, which I picked at random. And I was truly horrified. I met the 4 main characters, I believe, Nick and Andrew, and Jesse and Missy. And if there are more main characters, forgive me, that's as far as I got in this little experiment. And I'm going to check my notes here so that I'm not too wrong. And I don't want to be too graphic because let me make it clear if I haven't made it clear so far in this video. This video itself is not suitable for children. I have no illusions that this is stopping children from watching, and that's part of the problem. I don't want children to be watching this. I wouldn't want my own children to watch this. I thought it was too much. The children in the show, for the few episodes that I watched it, the children were caring and compassionate of each other. The same could not be said for the adults or the monsters. In the first episode, Nick accidentally sees his friend's private parts, and his friend Andrew's private parts, it's Andrew's private parts that he sees, are more developed than his. And Andrew was going to spend the weekend with Nick, but Nick becomes so uncomfortable at seeing Andrew's private parts that Andrew goes home and doesn't spend the entire weekend with him. Nick's parents ask him why Andrew's not spending the whole weekend with him, and Nick tells his parents, I saw Andrew's private parts, and it made me uncomfortable. Nick doesn't want to talk about this anymore, but Nick's parents push him to keep talking about it. And Nick's parents go so far as to explain that it's not bad that he's seen Andrew's private parts. At this point, Nick is objecting to his parents talking about it anymore. But his father explains that it's not only bad that he didn't see Andrew's private parts, it wouldn't have been bad if he'd touched them, even kissed his penis if he'd wanted to. Nick's mother then goes on to say that he could do worse than Andrew, and that homosexuality isn't a bad thing, perhaps it even is preferable. Now, I understand that some parents might think that this is an acceptable discussion if their son might be having questions about his sexuality. But Nick is arguing and stating repeatedly that he is not having issues about his sexuality, that he does not think he is gay. All Nick is saying is that he's uncomfortable having his friend spend the weekend. Therefore, Nick's parents throwing all of this talk about what Nick could do with Andrew's penis constitutes grooming. They are introducing sexual behavior to a child who is not ready for this talk, does not want this kind of talk. If this were happening with two adults, including the parents, and this was not an animated show, we would know that this was parasocial grooming. If this were happening in real life, we would know it was grooming. We would know that it was sexual abuse. Moving on. I have to check my notes here because, frankly, these incidents happened nonstop, and I am choosing to just touch on a few. Okay, so, am I a prude? Maybe. This first instance, I was so shocked, I thought, let me just take notes. And then I thought, let me just note the most severe instances. So, again, it was just terrible. So this is that's the instance that I chose to record from the first episode. In the second episode, there's actually a joke that a little girl might have dildos in her backpack. Now, the little girl is not part of the discussion at all. The little girl is not saying, I have dildos in my backpack. They're joking that a little girl might have dildos in her backpack. This, again, is an instance of grooming. There's no reason to think that anyone watching the show, a child watching the show, but that would be an act of grooming if a child were watching it. Secondly, I don't see how this is about body positivity. I do not. Also, if the rating on this show, and excuse me for being sloppy, this has been kind of hard to prepare for, and I don't want to put off this video any longer. But how is this appropriate to an adult show? How is this funny for adults? How is this possibly funny to adults? And why is the screen like occasionally flashing light? I'll deal with that at another time. For adults to be laughing about a 7th grade girl having dildos in their backpack, there is only one conclusion, and that is that this show is designed to be appealing to adults that find it appealing to have a 7th grade girl who's familiar with dildos. Really shouldn't have to connect the dots to make a conclusion here. I was horrified, really and truly horrified and revulsed by this. Let me check my notes again, because again, it is so frustrating. I was horrified. Also in the second episode, a little girl gets her period while she's on a field trip to Staten Island, or to the Empire State, to Staten Island to see the Statue of Liberty. And this was really kind of a moving part of this second episode, in that it was very touching. The little girl is wearing white shorts, and she gets her period and she flees to the bathroom. And while she's in the bathroom, she realizes that there are no hygiene products, there is no toilet paper. And without telling you the whole episode because it's irrelevant, a little boy comforts her, gives her his sweater, gives her a sweater so that she can wrap it around her waist so that no one can see that her panties are stained with blood. And then for no reason, apropos of nothing, a hormone monster or a shame monster. There are several monsters that serve no purpose except to incite these children to sexual activities, which presumably, according to the creators, the adult viewers will find amusing. A monster tells the little boy that now he can fuck her face. This, again, is an act of grooming. And it's horrifying, and I don't understand. I don't understand how this show is consistently getting rave reviews. I don't understand how it's been on for 3 seasons and has been renewed for another 3 seasons. Is it me? Because I have better taste than that. I really do. I couldn't even stomach it. I couldn't. Checking my notes again because it's just, I've rehearsed this and rehearsed this. And I know this is going to be sloppy, but I've got to get it out there because I have to move on. I've got other videos to make and a life to live, but there's children who have lives to live too, and I really can't understand why this is happening in a world where I get on Facebook every day and there's memes that say hang pedophiles from trees, and we're also upset about Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, and yet we're producing this kind of content for our citizens, our children, and this is grooming them so that they're lambs ready for the slaughter at the hands of pedophiles. It's going to be very hard to stop pedophiles when we're grooming our own children to be ready for them. I think that we need to stop the problem on all fronts, and as long as the show is being lauded by society, it's going to be very hard to stop the problem. Okay, so in episode 6 of season 2, it starts with Andrew being bullied into French kissing by a rather robust girl named Lola. And as Lola starts French kissing him, which is very graphic, we see the two cartoon tongues intertwining, and Lola and Andrew, I believe that's the little boy's name, are humping each other in the hall, and the students are watching them making out very enthusiastically. And the coach comes down the stairs and he's like, oh, this is wonderful, this is great, and he's just basically cheering on this frenetic sexual activity. And he's saying it's great to see, a brother and sister doing this. And the students stop appalled and they say, they're not brother and sister. And he says, wait, this is terrible. What in the name of God? I almost fell off the couch. I couldn't believe I'd just seen incest being cheered on by an authority figure in an adult cartoon. Help me, please. I don't get it. Later in that episode, Lola and Andrew are at Lola's house, and the monsters are doing cocaine. Now, mind you, I checked reviews online. I found a site, I don't even remember. Let me check my notes again. Common Sense Media, and there's nothing wrong with the show was one review. Another review said there is no drug use on the show except marijuana. That's not true. The monsters in episode 6 were doing cocaine while Lola and Andrew were making out. So episode 6 contained drug use and an endorsement of incest. No, I'm not kidding. So that was my experience with 3 episodes of this show. Whether or not the show's creators intended to serve pedophiles, and just on the surface it looks like that's exactly what they intended, it does serve pedophiles. It grooms an audience of children. Whether they can say that the rating is TV mature, but give me a break. Children are watching this show. Children are being groomed. On a mass level, children are being groomed. What do we do with this? We stop it. On YouTube, we had Shane Dawson grooming children. And a young YouTube creator called Korviday produced a video called Shane Dawson and Parasocial Grooming. And I'm going to provide a link. There's a link down in the description box below for this video. And it's excellent at explaining how this type of content effectively grooms thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of children, so that when pedophiles do come into contact with these children have already been groomed. They are already set up to be victims for pedophiles. We have to stop this type of contact. I am not an alt-right mad woman intent on stopping young people from becoming comfortable with their own bodies. That was the last thing I am. I was raised Catholic, and I did everything to shake off that kind of rigidity. This type of content is setting our children up to be victims of the worst sort of criminals. We have to see it stopped. We have to recognize it for what it is. It is not funny. It is not humorous. Adults who find this humorous have issues that they need to face, that they need to resolve with professionals. Because this is not resolving it. This is probably reliving their own traumas. And that's the conclusion that I've come to. And I've talked with, a few other people. Any issues that I've had to face with my own sexuality would not have been solved with content like this. I don't know what it would have done. It may have reinforced any paraphilias that I have, which thank God I'm not burdened with. But I can see that a person with a paraphilia might be reassured by this content into thinking that they have been given a pass. And that is the danger of this content. I hope that you'll watch the video by Korviday. And I do hope that we can, the viewers of this video, viewers of Korviday's video, and other people who are sincerely trying to fight the victimization of children will come to realize that content like this is not protecting our children. I hope that all of you have a beautiful day, that you make the best choices, that you protect your children and other children, and have a great day. Not all my videos are this dark. And I'm sorry this one had to be, but I feel like this had to be said. Bye-bye.